One day after the Trump administration ordered a freeze on most federal funding, the White House has now rescinded the memo.
However, according to the White House press secretary, the president's executive order to review the use of federal funds remains in full force. Wave News reporter Fernando Garcia-Franceschini has been talking with a local organization that assists victims of sex violence to see how a federal grant freeze would affect them.
Well, John, Myra, the Office for Women and Families has been helping victims of intimate partner and sexual violence for more than 100 years. But now, as they wait to see what's going to happen at the federal level, they say they're worried about how they're going to be able to help the people that need it the most.
It felt like March 13th, 2020, the day that Kentucky shut down.
For the president of the Center for Women and Families, Tuesday felt just like the start of the COVID-19 pandemic almost 5 years ago, full of chaos and uncertainty.
It was scramble. It was scramble to figure out, what does this mean? How does this impact us?
The center helps more than 6,000 victims of domestic and sexual violence every year. It also operates a crisis call center, a shelter, and offers community services. The money for all of that comes mostly from federal grants that wouldn't be available under a federal freeze.
If we're not here, then where do they go? Where do they seek safety? My fear is that people will die or they'll continue to suffer in silence of horrific trauma.
The money for those grants also helps pay the center's staff and keep the building running.
We are one of 15 programs in the state, and we're all in the same boat. Everything that we do here at the center is 100% free. And how do I do that if I don't have funds?
The grant money is reimbursable, which means the center doesn't get the money up front. They need to put out the money in order to get it back. So Martin says right now they're gathering receipts and documents to get the money back as soon as possible, all while reassuring people they intend to stay open regardless of what happens.
We are still here to answer your calls, and I will do everything possible to make sure that that continues indefinitely.
The center benefits from receiving federal grants from the Victims of Crime Act, also known as VOCA, and the Violence Against Women's Act. All of that money would be unavailable if a federal freeze were to happen. Reporting in downtown Louisville, Fernando Garcia-Franceschini, Wave News.